Hey, Queen. So, for today's episode, the question that is coming to me is, what are you committed to? What is it that you are committed to? So many times we can easily pinpoint what other people are committed to. I don't know about you, but I've heard that saying before that, oh, you're so committed to misunderstanding me. And there's so many times that it's easy for us to recognize what we believe other people are committed to. And my question for you today, Queen, is what are you committed to? Welcome to the Champagne Diamonds podcast. I am your host, Nadine Russell, and I'm so glad you decided to join me today. This podcast was created for queens, women who are ready to step into their power, women who are looking towards their vision and embracing the journey along the way, women who are ready to be unapologetic about being their authentic selves. If this is you, keep listening. What is up? Welcome to another episode of the Champagne Diamonds podcast. I am your host, Nadine Russell, and I'm super excited to talk about this topic today because usually this is what happens. I'm like, what's going on for the podcast today? What is the topic? What are we going to talk about? What is that message that has been put on my heart? And the message that came to me today is, what are you committed to? Okay, so as I was saying in the intro, there's so many times that it's easy for us to pinpoint what other people are committed to. And a lot of times we could look and say, you know what, that person, they're doing great things in their life. They're committed to success. That person, they're not doing that great. They're committed to wasting time. They're committed to playing games. They're committed to irritating people. They're committed to this. They're committed to that. Because when we are on the outside looking in, it's very easy to be judgy, to be judgmental, and to look and say, oh, I'm going to make a judgment based on what I feel that person is doing or how much progress I feel that person has had. I am going to sit here and I'm going to look over there and I am going to imply. I am going to create my own understanding of their situation and put that label on them as to what I feel they are committed to. It happens all the time. We have all been guilty of being on the outside, looking into someone else's situation and making that distinction for ourselves on what we believe is happening in that person's life. But some of us go a bit deeper. Some of us are like, you know what? I wonder what that person is committed to. And we might ask that question. We might go right out and ask that question, but some of us don't even bother to ask the question. We just start having a conversation so that way we can come to our own conclusion of what an individual may or may not be committed to. And based on that conversation, we might learn a few things and be able to come into agreement with ourselves on what that person is committed to. Like the idea that I shared earlier, like, oh, this person is clearly committed to misunderstanding me, or this person is clearly committed to judging me, or this person is clearly committed to wasting my time. Based on conversations, we can learn certain things about people because at least we took that time to have that interaction, to have that conversation and discover, this is what this person is committed to. And then there's the other group, that asks the question that says, I'm curious, what are you committed to? And if you've ever been the person to ask the question, what are you committed to? A lot of times we're shocked. We are shocked when we hear the answer that comes back to us. Because in our minds, we have painted a picture. In our minds, we have already created a scenario of what we believe this individual is committed to. And when we sit down and we ask that question, what are you committed to? And we don't hear the answer back that we expected to hear back, it can be mind-blowing. It can be like, what is happening? What is happening? I never would have known that that is what you were committed to. I never would have known. And this was a lesson that I have actually learned within myself. A lesson that I have seen playing out over and over and over again in my life and in the lives of others, where people look into our lives, and that could be a friend, that could be a family member, that could be a mentor, that could be someone we look up to, that could be someone that we're just passing on the street or someone that we see on social media. And we can make that decision for ourselves on what we believe that individual is committed to. And we make judgments based on that. Sometimes they're not great judgments. Sometimes they're inaccurate judgments. And sometimes they are true judgments. But the reason why I'm starting off with that is because a lot of us are so consumed with what other people are doing. We are so consumed with trying to figure out what the next person is doing, and we forget to focus on what we need to be doing. We forget to focus on what's happening in our lives, what's happening in our situation. And there's, tons of reasons why we do that. Because sometimes our situation is too stressful to look at. Sometimes our situation is too frustrating to witness, to acknowledge, to try to understand. Sometimes our situation is too painful. There's too much trauma. There's too much baggage in our situation. So it's so much easier to look at someone else's situation. Because if we're looking everywhere else, we don't have to deal with what's happening in our own backyard. If we're looking everywhere else, we don't have to address the issues that we are facing in our day-to-day life. And it happens to everyone. And I'm not saying any of this to say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that or you shouldn't. No, that's not what this is about. What I am wanting to address here is how can we start asking ourselves what we are committed to? And when we ask ourselves this question, the purpose of this question is not meant to belittle ourselves. The purpose of this question is for us to notice, to put ourselves on notice about what is happening within ourselves, to put ourselves on notice on why we keep facing the same obstacles over and over again, to put ourselves on notice as to why we have not achieved the goals that we have set out to achieve, to put ourselves on notice for what are the limiting beliefs that we have playing in the back of our minds, to pay attention to who are the people that are surrounding us, to pay attention to what are the habits and the activities that we have going on in our lives that could potentially be preventing us from getting to where we need to be. So, Queen, the question today is, what are you committed to? You might be committed to playing small. You might be committed to misunderstanding yourself. You might be committed to being fearful. You might be committed to not taking action. You might be committed to, talking the talk and not walking the walk. You might be committed to counting yourself out. You might be committed to judging yourself. You might be committed to not forgiving yourself. You might be committed to abandoning and self-sabotaging yourself. But the truth is, you'll never know that until you spend that time to go deeper, until you spend that time to ask that question, until you spend that time with yourself in your closet, on your knees, in your bed, wherever your sanctuary might be, and have the courage to ask yourself that question: what am I committed to? What am I committed to? Because I think when we start getting those answers, for some of us, it might shock us. For some of us, we may already know. That's why we don't even want to ask ourselves the question, because we already know what the answer is going to be. We already know that this thing that we are committed to, we realize that it is not what we need to be committed to in order to make the steps to move forward, in order to get to where we need to be in life. We recognize that we are the ones holding ourselves back. We are the ones that are standing in our own way. And that can be really, really difficult to acknowledge. It can be very confronting. It can be very discouraging. And it might send us down this deeper loophole of feeling more frustrated and feeling more upset and feeling more confused about our path and our journey. But I encourage you today to empower yourself with this question. Not to use this question as a way to feel guilty or to look down on yourself or to let your limiting beliefs overtake you and make you feel like you don't have what it takes to get to the next level. Because I promise you, Queen, you have what it takes. You have what it takes to get to the next level. But it all starts with you recognizing what it is you are committed to. And when you ask yourself this question, grab a notebook, grab your journal, write it down. What comes up? What are you realizing? And you can even break it down into different areas of your life to say, you know what am I committed to? And sometimes we'll notice that the things that we are committed to are not bad things. Some of us are committed to success. Some of us are committed to winning. Some of us are committed to changing our lives and changing the lives of others. But if you recognize that you are committed to something, and it's something great, and it's something big, and it's something powerful, and you take a look at where you are and what you're currently doing, ask yourself if it looks like that's really what you're committed to. And if it's not, that's okay. That's why we're doing this practice today. That's why I'm recording this episode today, because my intention with this episode is to help queens to get back into alignment with their truth, to get back into alignment with the things that are positive in their life, with the things that are high vibrational in their lives, with those dreams that they want to achieve, to be able to reach them. So let's say that you're committed to limiting beliefs. Let's say that you're committed to doubting yourself. Well, guess what? That is okay, because it happens to everybody. Everybody deals with fears. Everybody deals with limiting beliefs. Everybody deals with these things. But here's the beauty of it. Once we recognize that these are the things that we are committed to, we have the power to change it. We have the power to take control of those situations and to shift them. And I get it. It can be very hard trying to shift these mindsets, trying to shift these limiting beliefs, trying to shift these fears and these traumas and these deep-rooted things that keep playing back in our minds, that keep holding us back. But I want to remind you that you are not alone. You are not alone. You do not have to go through it alone. There are people that are willing and ready to help you. There are people that if you reach out to them, if they cannot help you, they will connect you with someone who can. You do not have to go through it alone. If you feel like right now in your life, you are committed to going nowhere. You are committed to going around in circles. You are committed to keep dealing with the same issues and the same circumstances and the same frustrations over and over and over again. If that's what it looks like in your life, I want to encourage you, Queen, that that is not how it has to be. You can make that decision to change at any time in your life. The choice is yours. You hold that power within your hand. You hold that power to decide today to change what you are committed to. You hold that power. And maybe you are like, no, I'm good. I'm committed to bigger things. I'm committed to getting my dreams and reaching my goals. I'm committed to all of that. And I want to congratulate you because that's awesome. I'm very, very grateful and very, very thankful to know that you have been able to commit to something big for yourself. That you have been able to shift that mindset and say, no, I'm not going to let these situations hold me back. And I'm going to commit to something bigger. But then here comes the second part of it. If you are not seeing the results that you want to see, if you are not making progress, are you really truly committed to it? Because there's certain actions that we're going to need to implement. There's certain things we need to be doing in our lives. There's certain conversations we need to be having. There's certain people that we are going to need to let go of. There has to be change. There has to be growth. In order for us to take that next step, in order for us to get to that next level, in order for us to truly, truly commit to whatever it is we say that we are committed to. And that's just a fact. And I'm not saying this looking into your window and judging. I'm not saying this from a high horse looking down. No, I'm saying this because I am in this with you. I am in this with you. And these are revelations that I've had to go through in my own time. These are questions that I need to continually ask myself on my journey. Nadine, what are you committed to? Because if you're truly committed to what you say you're committed to, there's more you need to be doing. There's things you need to let go of. There's mindset shifts that need to happen. There's more personal growth, more personal development. There's more people to help. There's more fears to push past. There's more. There is 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 more. And when you take that time to zone in and ask yourself what it is you're committed to, and then you take that time to recognize what actions you are taking or not taking, then it comes back to an accountability within ourselves. It comes back to how bad we really want that which we say we're committed to. Because guess what? You don't have to be committed to big dreams. You don't have to be committed to achieving large goals in your life. You don't have to. The choice is yours. This is your life. No one is going to have to live your life but you. And it doesn't matter if people are judging you or if people don't like you, because guess what, honey? How people feel about you is none of your business. And it took me a very, very, very long time to really let that resonate within my spirit and within my soul, that what other people think about me has absolutely nothing to do with me. Because guess what? The opinions of others, they do not pay my bills. Never have, never will. But I had to be honest with myself and ask myself, do I even really want what it is I'm committed to? And sometimes the bigger question is what you're committed to. Does it want you? Does it want to see you happy? Does it want to see you win? Does it want to see you do your best? Because if anything that you're committed to is not pushing you forward and lifting you up, is not encouraging you and motivating you and inspiring you and comforting you and encouraging you on your journey, then what are you committed to it for? I feel like that's a topic for a whole nother episode. But I just want to end on this note, Queen. You have the power to make the choice in your life, to achieve the things you want to achieve, to be surrounded with the type of people you want to be surrounded with, to have the type of lifestyle you dream, to feel the fulfillment you want to feel, to be passionate the way you want to be passionate, to be purposeful the way you were called to be purposeful. But I need to know, what are you committed to? Truth be told, I don't need to know. Truth be told, you need to know. You need to know what you are committed to. And if you are one of the women that I work with, one of the queens that I have the luxury and the privilege of working with, and you want me to know what you're committed to, well, you know I want to know, Queen, because I am going to support you. I am going to encourage you, and I am going to check in with you to make sure that there is an action plan in place to help you get to where you are committed to going. So I hope today that you'll do the work, that you'll take a minute to ask yourself, what is it you're committed to? And that way, when that answer comes, that you will take action. Because you have the power to change your life. You have the power. You have the power. I love you so much, Queen. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Champagne Diamonds podcast. As always, make sure you guys come over and check me out on Instagram at Entice the Brand if you're not already rocking with me there. And if you want to get inside a super high vibe community where you can connect with like-minded queens, it's a small community, but it is growing and it is blossoming, and I cannot wait to get you inside. Make sure you guys come over to the Queen Klass. I love you so much. Have a blessed day. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Champagne Diamonds. I look forward to seeing you again in the next one.